a word on the multiplicity of effects of essential oils or medicinal plants. Sometimes when you talk to scientists, they just start a joke about what we do, and then they say, you say in your charts, or people are in the aromatherapy world or medicinal plant world, they say this plant is good for this and good for this and good for this and good for this, good for the stomach and good for respiration and good for wound healing and so on. How can it be? We are not convinced of that, but that is of course the monomolecular approach of modern allopathic medicine. You grab one molecule, often you find it in one plant maybe, and then you synthesize this molecule. You can take it from petrochemical stuff, of course, which is usually done. And then there's one molecule they have found is just good for this one thing, just good for one thing. Okay, but the plants are not like this. Plants are polyvalent. There is never a monomolecular structure in plants. Even the champion of monomolecularity, if you want to say so, wintergreen or birch oil, 97% methyl salicytate. But there are other compounds, and this is an exception. Usually lots of compounds. Birke, Birkenrindenöl, birch, for example. So, of course, but usually we have compounds in masses, different groups of compounds, which these plants have developed, as I said, over millions of years. And now we know from modern science, fortunately we have modern science, of course, we know that these compounds have to say their word in certain areas of healing. So we don't contest that, but it's ridiculous to say no to the polyvalent structure, healing structure, even of medicinal plants. It is like this. If we look at a rose oil, we would see that a normal Rosa Damascena has up to 500 different compounds. Many are trace compounds, very little ones, but they are also important. They would be just not even considered by modern chemical science. But in the real, let's say, aroma botany, they would be considered, and they would not be rejected. And that's the big theme in today in considering healing and comparing natural healing with allopathic medicine. Because there's always this fighting between, oh, this compound here, you have that in rose oil, this methyl eugenol, very toxic. We have sprayed it on rat skin for 4 weeks, and we have seen the rats were developing tumors on the skin. So methyl eugenol is in rose oil, and since then, since a few years now, all the perfumers had to change their recipes because if ever there was natural rose oil in there, and there are sometimes, then the methyl eugenol could only have that little micro drop in that bottle, nothing more. So it is like this, and we have to cope with it. But sometimes it doesn't make sense, because my saying is always, this compound here has a polarity compound here somewhere. Sometimes we don't even know, but it's a balancing thing. Of course, it's already so diluted. Methyl eugenol in rose oil is far beyond 0.1%. So anyway, but not only this, we don't use rose oil with just one compound, we use the whole thing. And then these compounds have a lot of mutual balancing effects amongst each others. So it's not a big danger. But
so they don't know the interaction of the different
we don't know either. Nobody knows really. But that doesn't mean we don't pay attention. It's always this kind of, don't dramatize, take it as a good information, and then find out what it is, really, and feel relaxed, but don't reject. I mean, the whole thing is always a little bit paradox. You accept the one pole and you find out the other pole, and you combine the two, and then it's like in life.